Hi, I'm Tony Velasquez. Cancer is perhaps one of the scariest diseases a person can have. Advances in cancer treatment have been slow to come here to the Philippines, where the incidence of the disease continues to rise. Future Perfect was recently invited to Guangzhou, China to observe how a modern cancer hospital has been making headway in the fight against the Big C.
Hindi hawak ng mga bituin ang ating kapalaran. Gabay lamang sila. Mayroon tayong free will, gamitin ang ito. Cancer, maski gaano ka pa ka-bored.
Perhaps the only time cancer isn't a scary topic is when it refers to the fourth astrological sign in the zodiac. But it certainly can evoke fear and distress in patients stricken with various forms of the disease. The Philippine Society of Medical Oncology ranks cancer as the third most prevalent disease in the country, following infectious diseases and cardiovascular diseases. Reports quoting studies from 2008 to 2010 say there has been a steady increase in cancer incidence in the Philippines. The studies predict that new cases of cancer in the Philippines will reach over 82,000 in both males and females. During the observance this year of World Cancer Day on February 4, the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology said health experts are aiming to reduce new cancer cases in the country by 25% in the next 13 years. Lawmakers are pushing for the establishment of a National Cancer Institute that would take charge of programs for prevention, screening, diagnosis, and treatment of various forms of cancer. With a proposed annual funding of 50 million pesos, the National Cancer Institute would also carry out experiments and studies on the diagnosis and treatment of the Philippines' third leading cause of death. Local oncology experts acknowledge that advances made abroad in targeted therapies and surgery have led to a decline in cancer cases in countries such as the U.S. For now, experts can only hope that the Philippines will follow suit. 3 years ago, ABS-CBN News and Current Affairs reported on the advanced cancer treatment techniques of the Fuda Cancer Hospital in Guangzhou, China. The program's correspondents and Rated K showed how minimally invasive techniques such as cryosurgical ablation have increased the chances for survival of patients suffering from early to advanced stages of cancer. Filipino patients who have undergone cancer treatments at the Fuda Hospital attest to the effectiveness of the procedures they underwent. The recent awareness and acceptance by Filipinos of these new, minimally invasive cancer treatments has encouraged another prominent cancer hospital in Guangzhou, China, to explore the possibility of establishing a facility in the Philippines. Future Perfect was among a group of Philippine media men from the National Press Club, invited to tour and observe the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital, one of over 100 hospitals managed by the Bohai Medical Group of China. The hospital occupies a 20,000 square meter area in the Tianhe district of China's third largest city, Guangzhou, historically known as Canton, the capital of Guangdong province. The Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital was established in June 2005 with some 300 staff and medical experts, some of whom have trained in Europe and the United States. The hospital has successfully treated tens of thousands of cancer patients, including several Filipinos. Although the hospital's success rate has already been attracting Filipino cancer patients for the past several years, it only recently opened an office in the Philippines to handle bookings and appointments. Before a specific treatment plan can be drawn up for a patient at the hospital, a thorough physical exam is carried out. Each member of our Philippine media group was given a free checkup as part of an early screening process for cancer. In the interest of science journalism, I had to shed blood for this report. Aside from the blood extractions, we all had to undergo an ECG test, chest and neck x-rays, and an abdominal ultrasound. This is the only time I'll get semi-naked for Philippine TV. When we got the test results, a doctor in the hospital told me what I already suspected, that I'm overweight. But thankfully, the doctor also told me what I wanted to hear, that I tested negative for any form of cancer. Next on Future Perfect, a cure for the body and a feast for the eyes. We take a first-hand look at 2 of the 12 cancer treatment procedures at the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital and tour some of the modern and historical sites of Guangzhou. Being diagnosed with cancer is already a stressful matter to deal with. The uncertain outcome of any operation to remove it adds even more to a cancer patient's psychological burden. The Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital tries to put their patients at ease by including a tour of the city in their treatment package. Future Perfect and members and officers of the National Press Club were shown the historic, cultural, and modern landmarks that patients at the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital are brought to. The Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall sits on the southern slope of the Yexiao Hill, on the original site of Sun Yat-sen's presidential office. It was built between the years 1929 and 1931 in honor of the founding father of the Republic of China. The massive octagonal structure has a span of 71 meters without pillars. The hall was rebuilt in 1998 after it fell into disrepair over the past decades. The Yexiao Park is in the same vicinity as the Sun Yat-sen Memorial Hall. With an area of 860,000 square meters, it is the largest park in downtown Guangzhou. Within the park is one of the most famous structures of the city, the 5 Ram sculpture. Legend has it that 5 immortals riding on 5 rams had visited Guangzhou more than 2,000 years ago. The ram supposedly helped transform what was then a barren land into a fertile and prosperous city. To this day, Guangzhou is also known as the City of Rams. Another cultural site that patients of the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital get to visit is the ancestral temple of the Chen family, also known as the Chen Clan Academy or the Chen Lineage Hall. The temple was built in 1894, inspired by the scholastic achievement of a man named Chen, who placed 3rd in the highest imperial examination during the Qing dynasty. All the Chen families in the 72 counties of Guangdong province, as well as some overseas members of the family Chen, raised money to build the temple as a tribute to the sacrifice of their ancestors and as a reminder to their descendants to excel in their studies. It is a complex consisting of 9 halls, 6 courtyards, and 19 buildings connected by corridors, all separated by walls from the outside world. It now serves as the Guangdong Museum of Folk Arts and Crafts, where students taking their national exams offer prayers in hopes of passing with high marks. The temple's most impressive attractions are the various intricate carvings of wood, brick, stone, and ivory. From here, patients of the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital can visit the Canton Tower, considered to be one of the world's most spectacular buildings. It is now the world's tallest TV tower at 600 meters, surpassing the Toronto Tower, which tops out at 553 meters. The designers of the tower aim to create a non-symmetrical building with a curvy, graceful, and female form. This has given the tower its name Xiaoman Yao, or young girl with a tight waist. Spectacular views of the city center and the outlying districts can be seen from the observation deck at the 108th floor, some 433.2 meters high. In the evening, the Canton Tower offers an even more breathtaking sight. as it glows and changes colors. Tourists taking the Pearl River cruise can enjoy this magnificent light show off the tower while taking in the other illuminated sights along the third longest waterway in China. Next on Future Perfect. After enjoying the marvels that Guangzhou has to offer, patients at the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital will have the marvels of modern medical science and technology applied to their ailment in the least painless and bloodless way. Since it opened in June 2005, the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital has gained a reputation for providing minimally invasive alternatives to surgery. Through an interpreter, the chief scientist of the hospital, Dr. Peng Xiaoxi, told us of the effectiveness of their various treatment procedures in curing cancer patients.
Almost 90% can achieve the prolong the life and alleviate the pain. Due to the different condition of each patient, the prolong of the life of the patient may be only 5 years, some may be 10 years, or some may be only a few months.
Dr. Peng says a patient usually stays 1 month in the hospital and in some cases may have to come back for a checkup. Depending on the patient's condition, age, and the type of cancer, a procedure at the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital may cost around 50,000 to 70,000 yuan, or an equivalent of 350,000 to 400,000 pesos. The director of the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital, Dr. Wang Waizong, says one treatment is usually not enough for any type of cancer. He says a combination of different treatments is recommended by the hospital. The total cost of treatment could reach up to 200 to 300,000 yuan, or over 2 million pesos. Dr. Wang told us that their prices are still cheaper than that of the Fuda Hospital, another Guangzhou-based hospital renowned for its cancer treatments. Apart from the minimally invasive procedures, the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital also incorporates traditional Chinese medicines in its treatment program.
There are also some traditional Chinese medicine that we cultivate and we culture it to make it be liquefied in order to infuse it into the body of the patient.
While cryotherapy has become a familiar cancer treatment method, the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital also has 11 other procedures it can perform on cancer patients.
Because the cryotherapy is not good for all patients. Some patients still cannot undergo the said cryotherapy, so we have to provide other treatment modalities for other patients. If the tumor is located beside the colon, the gallbladder, and other blood vessels, the cryotherapy treatment will cause only harm for the patient.
To give prospective patients a better idea of the various procedures offered by their facility, the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital has produced visual explanations of how these are carried out. Argon helium or ARHE cryotherapy is the more well-known procedure, as this has been used in Europe and the US since the late 20th century to treat liver and prostate cancers. It was approved for use in China in 1999. Guided by computerized tomography or CT imaging, doctors insert cryoprobe needles into the patient's tumor and apply argon gas to freeze it at a temperature of 165 degrees Celsius below zero, creating an ice ball around it. Helium gas is then applied to rapidly heat the tumor, melting the ice crystals and burning away the cancer cells. The Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital also uses iodine seed implantation, a process it has dubbed as particle knife, describing it as a nuclear weapon for modern cancer treatment. Radioactive iodine seeds measuring 0.8 millimeters in diameter and 4.5 millimeters in length are implanted into the tumor. The gamma radiation emitted by the iodine seeds kills the cancer cells. Yet another treatment offered by the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital is called interventional chemotherapy. Anti-cancer drugs are injected into the tumor, targeting the cancer cells while sparing the surrounding healthy tissue. The drugs starve the cancer cell of oxygen and nutrition. Photodynamic therapy is used by the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital, describing it as a photon bullet to kill cancer cells.
光灯的疗法，它这个比较简单，不需要手术，对病人的创伤小，所以病人比较容易接受。它治疗原理是这样的，我们一般是先在治疗的48小时之前打这个光明剂，通过血管。 静脉滴这个光明剂进入这个身体里面，那么光明剂进入这个身体以后呢，正常的细胞它就48小时就把这个光明剂给排泄完了，光明剂就存留在这个肿瘤细胞里面，然后这个时候我们去照射这个肿瘤，那么肿瘤通过这个氧化作用就把这个肿瘤细胞杀死，光明剂存在这个癌细胞里面，带光照射。 它因为光和光明剂的一个氧化作用，就把这个肿瘤细胞杀死了。皮肤癌它只是它的治疗的一个实验症而已，它其他的包括食道癌，还有胃癌、结肠癌、支气管癌这些肿瘤都会有疗效的。
One process used by the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital has a culinary description, which is cooking the cancer cell to death through radiofrequency ablation, or RFA. A probe with an umbrella-like tip is inserted into the tumor. A high-frequency current is passed through the electrode needles, raising the temperature of the tumor to around 100 degrees Celsius.
穿刺到这个肿瘤里面，然后我们通上电极，那么电极这个就是加温了。电极那么这个穿刺针它的温度就会升高，周围的它周围这个就会形成一个热球啊，就是这个周围一圈的这个肿瘤就会被这个电极破坏，大概持续30分钟到45分钟左右，那么这个肿瘤就死亡了。
Bioimmunotherapy is a treatment by which the patient's anti-cancer cells are stimulated through several means.
Firstly, draw immune cell from patient. Secondly, culture the cell into vitro by using biotechnology and biological agents. Thirdly, give the cell antigen information of killing tumor cell. Fourthly, culture the cell in large amount. After the preparation, reinfuse the cells with antigen information back to patient's body. These cells just like countless precision-guided cell missile, which attacks and kills tumor cells actively without hurting normal tissue. Thus, the patient will recover in a short time.
几乎所有的恶性肿瘤都可以通过这个免疫治疗法，特别是那些晚期的。 就是广泛转移的病人特别适合，因为这个免疫细胞它回输到身体里面的时候，它会跑到身体的任何一个部位，就是身体任何一部位的肿瘤，它都可以杀灭，所以它是特别适合这些病人。
Regenerative technology, also known as stem cell therapy, is also being applied by the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital.
Modern Cancer Hospital Guangzhou, which has always been pioneering in world oncological treatment, will apply stem cell transplantation to benefit patients suffering from diabetes, hepatic cirrhosis, severe liver diseases, kidney syndrome, lupus nephritis, and necrosis of femoral head.
Yet another technique employed by the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital is called nano-targeting technology.
Nano-targeting technology magnifies those useful drug ingredients to micromolecule, which is 500 to 1,000 times less than human body cell. It is very easy for this ultra-fine molecule to enter giant molecule. Similarly, drug nanomolecule gets into body cell quickly and easily, even deep into nucleus. Then it is absorbed by body cell directly, which can lower dosage and reduce side effect.
During our visit to the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital, we were allowed to watch 2 separate procedures via closed-circuit television in the hospital's auditorium. One patient underwent argon-helium cryotherapy for lung cancer. Guided by a CT scan image of the patient, the doctors inserted cryoprobes into the tumor. Throughout the procedure, the patient was conscious and was only given a local anesthetic. A second patient was operated on for liver cancer. This time, iodine seed implantation was performed by the doctors. Future Perfect spoke with 2 Filipino patients who've been undergoing treatment at the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital. Eduardo Yu is a 65-year-old businessman from Balut, Tondo. He's a heavy drinker who had been diagnosed in November 2011 with stage 2 liver cancer. Regina Mangiran is a 56-year-old housewife from Muntinlupa who was diagnosed last December with stage 3 cervical cancer. Mr. Yu has already had 5 treatments at the hospital, involving a combination of intra-arterial and cryotherapy, a combination of intra-arterial and bioimmunotherapy, and intra-arterial combined with radioactive iodine seed implantation. He said he has already spent nearly 4 million pesos for the treatments, but he's convinced it was all worth it, after defying the earlier prognosis of Philippine doctors that he only had a week to a month left to live. Mrs. Mangiran first went to the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital in February this year. She's had intra-arterial chemotherapy, bioimmunotherapy, and iodine seed implantation. When we spoke with her, she had just finished another session of chemotherapy and felt none of the usual side effects associated with the treatment.
Hindi naman napakiramdam ko eh. Wala na. Kaya nga, that is the difference. Kaya nga sister-in-law ko ang kasama ko. Parang natutuwa siya, enjoy siya na enjoy. Sabi, ano ko ba naman, katatapos mo lang ng chemo mo kung saan ka na umiikot. Yung findings kahapon pinakita sa akin yung CT scan, difference from the first, second, and the third. Ang nakikita ko lang doon yung seed implant, yung chips.
Siya na lang natira.
Kasi yun ang tapos ang liit-liit na ng tumor.
Aside from Mr. Yu and Mrs. Mangiran, the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital has already treated around 60 to 70 patients from the Philippines. The positive feedback the hospital has received from its Filipino patients has led it to consider setting up a branch in Manila. Lindsay Cheng, the chairman of the Boay Medical Group that manages the hospital, visited the Philippines in March this year and met with Vice President Jejomar Binay. We're still in the research period, Lin says, as to whether we have a market in the Philippines. We need more time to understand the Philippine market. Lin goes on to say, we still don't fully understand the kind of services Filipino people are asking for. While the Boay Medical Group is still studying whether to set up a Philippine extension of the Guangzhou Modern Cancer Hospital, it has already formalized a tie-up with the National Press Club of the Philippines. During our visit to Guangzhou, the Press Club, through its president Benny Antiporda and several of its directors, entered into a memorandum of agreement with the hospital, represented by its director, Dr. Wang Waizong. The hospital will provide free cancer treatment each year to at least 2 patients referred to it by the Press Club, as well as shoulder the plane fare and accommodation for the patient and 1 companion. Only persons financially incapable of affording the treatments would be accepted by the hospital under the agreement. And thank you for joining us. I'm Tony Velasquez. Join me again next week when we again examine the present and look ahead to the future perfect of Philippine tech.